This is Crowmar with TGN, welcoming you to another World of Warcraft Cataclysm beta video. This is the second boss of Bastion Twilight, Valiona Theralion, I think is how you pronounce it, better known as Double Dragon. And what this is just two dragons with a shared HP pool of about 32 million, and one's on the ground, one's in the air, and they swap back and forth. You get two phases each. The first phase is with Valiona on the ground. The second phase is with her in the air and Theralion or whatever on the ground. Okay, I'm gonna stop calling them by their names because I can't pronounce them, so I'm just gonna call them Pink and Blue. The first phase, Pink's on the ground. The second phase, Blue's on the ground. This is done by HP percentage and not by time. So you got to DPS them down if you want to get out of the phase. Now you're gonna go through two of each phase. So basically, as you see, it starts with Pink on the ground, then Blue on the ground, then Pink on the ground, then Blue on the ground, then they die. So it's every 25%. They have they have different abilities when they're ground in the air, but it's not too many abilities, and it's not too hard to get used to. The only problem with the execution is that mistakes are really brutal. The first thing you got to worry about is this blackout, which you see is being cast now. This is a really nasty healing absorb that's cast on a random raid member. When the healing is finished, is absorbed. It's only like 20,000 healing, or if it is dispelled, the player blows up and hits everyone around them with a meteor attack. That's it's instant death if there's not a lot of people there to absorb it. However, for the rest of the Pink phase, we have to spread out. That's because there's another spell that hits random raid members and blows up for about 20k. Kind of like the fireballs from Halphus Wormbringer. They don't fire them as fast. The next ability that Pink does is a giant fire breath that covers half the raid. That's really easy to avoid. Just don't stand in front of the dragon's face. The fire comes out of the face. The last ability during Pink phase are these big purple swirlies you see on the ground. We call them like whirlpools or swirlies or whatever. Don't stand in them. If you do, you get sent to what's called the Twilight Zone, a very scary place, which I will go into in more detail later. Anyway, so on to Blue phase. This one, instead of spreading out and coming back in, you stay tightly packed right on his ass the whole time. Remember, these dragons are not your standard dragons. They don't have cleaves, they don't have regular breaths, they don't have tail whips, they have much different stuff. Now, this is definitely the harder of the two phases. The first thing you're going to notice is that he's going to drop these little void zones on the ground. There's one right behind us. They're huge, and it's hard to pull the dragon out of them. He drops them right under his ass, usually. So what we do is we just strafe around it. It's actually a lot faster that way, and it's easier for the tank to manage. Now, on these early attempts, we were trying to run through it, but you see it's so big, and it's very difficult to actually do that. And we do pull him in a circle around the room, but it's more like we rotate him around. And you'll see on future attempts, it'll look a little bit better. The next ability is really nasty. It's this engulfing magic that he just cast. He puts an arrow on one unlucky raid member, and every time they deal damage or healing, and that includes dots and hots, they basically explode and hit everyone in the raid. Now, it's not a whole lot of damage per tick, but it can tick really fast depending on what kind of class you're playing. I mean, as a lock, it's not nice as a lock because your dots just go off, and you just start blowing up like crazy. So that's very annoying. Whoever gets the debuff has to run out of the raid. That way they don't kill everyone. The next thing that happens... Oh, there you go. It's happening right now. Valiona takes a deep breath. So Pink, while she's flying around, casts an Onyxia-style deep breath, which is just horrible. And what it does is there's three different lanes, kind of, across, left, right, and center. She faces one of those lanes and then does a deep breath. So you got to get out of the way, or else you die like I'm about to right now. Yeah, there you go. Now, if you get hit with the deep breath and survive, you get teleported into the Twilight Zone, just like the other thing. So hopefully we'll be able to see that in a minute. I think I do get sent to the Twilight Zone in a little bit. But anyway, there's still another attack to worry about coming from the Pink as she's flying around. She casts this, in addition to deep breath, she casts these meteors. What happens is a certain player, random player, gets targeted by an arrow, and a meteor lands on their head, and it splits damage between the raid members like you're used to, like most meteors. It's pretty devastating, but what's really bad is if you get a meteor and an engulfing magic, because you have to both leave the group and stack up. So what the heck do you do? Well, the good news is that in all of our attempts, we never actually had that happen. We never had the single person get both engulfing magic and the meteor. That means that it's most likely flagged so that doesn't happen. We could have just got lucky, but my guess is that it wouldn't, because it would be really screwed up if you had the if you managed to have both the meteor and the engulfing magic, because you couldn't run out of the group, or else you would die from meteor. You couldn't stay in the group, or you'd kill everyone with engulfing magic. So again, I don't think it's possible to get both. So that's just a theory. But I will say that if you do get that, it is possible to survive it based on the numbers, because I believe that the meteor only does about 130,000 damage, split between all raid members. That is survivable. You will probably need a pain suppression. You will need to get like some shielding. So if you have a cooldown, like a glyphed cloak or a shield wall or an ice block or whatever the hell else you have, you know, use that, and you know, ask the healers nicely to top you off, and you might even survive that. But hopefully that doesn't actually happen to you. And here's a great example of engulfing magic and how bad it is. Wow. Cast it on me right as I was running into the group, and had to run back out. Now, as I've mentioned before, the blue phase is definitely the harder of the two because of all the stuff going on. The engulfing magic and the meteor and the deep breath especially, all that stuff adds up. But the good news is that once you've beaten this phase, you've seen the whole fight. You just have to repeat it. You just have to execute that plan twice perfectly. That's it. And then you've beaten the encounter. So once you've seen, you know, these abilities, then you've seen everything there is to see. It's just that the abilities are so strong, and you have to have good reaction time, a little bit better reaction time than what I'm having here, with the void zones, with the engulfing magic, with the meteor, all that stuff. And believe me, the first time you get to the pink phase, it winds up being a huge relief, because you're like, oh man, this is so much easier than the blue phase. And I might as well tell you now and spoil it for you, is that we do wind up killing this boss, and you'll see it in this video, but not on this attempt. And what happens is the very first time we make it to the second pink phase, we get it just like that. That's all there is to it, because once you've beaten that, then you get to the last blue phase, and then you bloodlust through it. Now, here's something nasty about to happen. I got an engulfing magic, I run out of the group, and then I get a deep breath at the same time, okay? It just tags me, it doesn't kill me. Now, look at this. This is the Twilight Zone I was talking to you about. There's all these little orbs walking around, and you're kind of like phased out. Like, you can see other people running around too, but basically you just get destroyed. Now, it's not instant guaranteed death. The reason I died is that I stood in another deep breath. Technically there is a way to escape. There's like a portal that is supposed to appear. I never saw it, and I only got in the Twilight Zone twice, so I didn't have enough time really to figure it out. But pretty much, if you get in, just assume you're dead. You're basically dead. You can still attack the boss while in there, but you take a stacking dot, and there's ads that attack you, and it's really nasty. So just don't let it happen. In order to avoid getting in there, I mean, first you don't want to stand in the big swirlies, but also you just don't want to get hit by the deep breath. Now, we had a few more wipes to various things, mostly deep breath. That's probably the most dangerous thing that happens here. But I'll go ahead and spare you those details, because other than that, it's pretty much the same thing over and over again. So what I've done is I've fast forward to our kill. Spoil it for you, sorry. And I'm just going to do about the same spot where we wiped last time, so you can see the rest of the fight from here on. Same thing happened. I took an engulfing magic right near the end, but I didn't get deep breathed, so that was good, and that just changed everything. I also want to talk about positioning here. I didn't mention it earlier, but one thing you want to do is don't go on the stairs. The stairs are death. They're horrible. Look what's happening to me here. I'm trapped behind a void zone and a deep breath at the same time. Now, the deep breath did expire, so I can finally walk around this void zone, but I noticed that the dragon was in range still, so I decided to take advantage of that. Here comes another deep breath. Now, if that deep breath had been right on top of me, I would have been, like, triple screwed. The other thing that happens if you're on the stairs, it's very obnoxious. It happened to me one time, but I didn't keep the footage, unfortunately. I was standing on the stairs, and there were some swirlies on the ground, and the graphic of the swirly on the ground didn't reach onto the stairs, but the effect did, and that was the other time I got sent into the Twilight Zone. So that's something you want to watch out for. Just stairs are bad. Stay away from the stairs. Now, we successfully made it to the second pink phase, and it was just so much easier from this point out. And this was the first time we'd gotten this far, and it was just going very smoothly. And we've done the pink phase so many times because of wiping on the blue phase that we had no problem here. We just, spread out, get hit by the blast, no big deal. When blackout hits, move in. I don't know why I'm running back and forth here. I guess I was just getting excited, but I need to just work a little harder and keep my rotation up. And just DPS down. There comes a blackout. Time to group up. Very, very easy, and very easy to control. Very, not at all chaotic, really. It doesn't get chaotic till blue phase. She's ticking down slowly. She's about 8.4 million. I mean, there comes a big flame breath on the other side. Staying away from the stairs as usual. One of those little blasts just hit me, the ones that hit everyone around you, if in case you're wondering what that looked like. Here come the swirlies. Stay away. There's a perfect one. Look at the swirly. See how it's on the ground, but the graphic doesn't show up on the stairs? It's horrible. It's so difficult to avoid if you're on the stairs. You can rewind that and watch right as the very first swirlies came out. One of them was the epicenter was right at the bottom of the stairs, so that's why you don't want to be on the stairs. Big time. Anyway, so we very easily got to the last blue phase, under 5 million health. It's time to start executing him and finish the fight, so we are going to time warp here in just a minute. After we make it through this engulfing magic, I believe. I just got a meteor on my head. But it only took, what, about 5k or so? Because it was split between all the grade members. So it's actually not that damaging at all if you manage to split it properly. There's the Bloodlust. Now the engulfing's worn off. So we're going to hammer this guy down. He's only got 3 million health. And I think that it's slightly less than 25%, but I might be wrong. Because he seemed to come down at about 6 million. As opposed to about 8 million, so it may have just been a weird timing thing. I'm not sure, but either way it helped us because less time in the blue phase is better. You hate the blue phase, hate it. So there he goes, we start spamming damage. The raid's actually starting to fall apart here. I'm about to die, the druid died, and the healer died, but he only has 100k health, so he's going down, and I just barely survived thanks to, you know, the magic of warlocks. So there we go, he's down. Great healing item dropped. Let's see what the other one was. The tank, right? Yeah, there we go. There's the tank helmet. God, I wish I had that on my warrior. That'd be amazing. Yeah, so that's it. That's Valiona Theralion, or whatever. And yes, I know she's kind of purple instead of pink, but I just called them pink and blue because it's easier. And this is not a hard fight. It's kind of chaotic in the blue phase, and it does take, you know, learning like any good fight should. But once you've got the execution down, it's not too punishing. It's not exactly a gear check. There is an enraged timer, but it's super forgiving. It's like 10 minutes, so you shouldn't have a problem with that. Now, there was a recent round of buffs. They buffed Halfa Swarmbringer. They buffed a bunch of stuff in Blackwing Descent, but these guys didn't really get affected. They're pretty much the same. Honestly, they feel very tuned. They feel tuned very correctly. I couldn't really say anything that needs to be changed. I mean, I guess you could say that maybe the blue should be slightly easier and the pink should be slightly harder, but even that, no, I don't even think that's necessary. I think it's fine having a difficult phase and an easy phase. So anyway, that does it for VNT, or pink and blue, whatever you want to call it. Second boss of Bastion of Twilight. This is Cromar, as always, asking you to please rate, please comment, and please subscribe.